So what I want to talk about today is, I think one of the biggest roles that men have is our role in terms of our relationship with our other half. And I'm saying other half because I'm conscious that those who may listen to this are not necessarily married and are not even thinking about marriage, but all of us on this table, we're married, but I'm just talking for the wider society, like relationships. And you know, what would men say that is like the biggest challenge in like marriage? So like, just out of interest, what's everyone's years in terms of marriage around the table? Mine's, I'm like coming up to 16 next year, so I'm 15 years married.
Boy, alright.
Yeah. I'm proud of that, you know, because where man's coming from, it's like, that is like, when it's funny, because when I speak to man or speak to people, if I'm in the barber shop and man see me, or I talk to a female, and you say 15 years, it's mad how 15 sounds different now.
Yeah.
The internet says like, yo, wow, 15 years. It's like you're saying 40. Is that what you said? In this day and age where people just switch and change out the weather. Yeah. So yeah. What's the other man's like? What's man's sentences? What's man's Everybody's
trying to
how much time man served so far?
So for me, I'm literally now in my 4th year. It's been 3 years. It was August 31st, so I'm in my 4th year now.
Yeah, so you
but it's gone quick.
Yeah, 4 years, so soon home. You know, man talking in the streets, man talking about, I've done 4 years, you know, soon home.
Hard grafting. Yeah, so for me it's 6 years.
Wow.
Okay.
6 years. Wow.
I'm coming up to 8 February.
Wow.
4, 6, 8,
8, you know, and 8 means new beginnings. Interesting. Yeah. 8 means new beginnings. That's amazing. So, longest, second longest, third, fourth. So you're the newbie on the table.
Newbie.
Yeah.
Where's Alex?
Where is your
So what would man say that is like being a challenge? Because I've personally enjoyed marriage. Like marriage has been good. We've worked a lot, like hard on communication and stuff like that. If I think about my own, just to kickstart it, thinking what has been my biggest challenge? I think my biggest challenge in my marriage, was around about 2007. So what are you talking? How much years ago is that now? 2007, 8.
Like 14 years? 14 years ago?
Like 14 years ago. Wow. I was just started up a new business, going hard. I was out of the house. Like my philosophy was like, we just had offices in my new business. I want to be the first in, last out.
Yeah.
So I'd wake up early, do my routine, go into the office before the staff, do the stuff in the office with the staff, and then I'd do most of my delivery in the evening. So the truth of the matter is I was probably doing 12-hour days and flying out of the house, and it was mad because I just got saved, just changed my life, come off the lifestyle that I was living, and I was feeling really positive because I was getting legal money, I was doing things in a legal way. But then I had the most deepest happy slap, like box in my mouth moment, where it was like, well, imagine this is a season now, like we've gone through hardship. I mean, I talk about this thing called whoops shopping. I don't know if anyone knows about whoop shopping. Whoop shopping was a season, right, where we used to time the Asda food, and it was like yellow labels, so we knew that the Asda by us would put out the yellow label products at a certain time. So we'd go to the shop at Asda at a certain time to get all it's called whoops. Can you believe it? You know, something that's £3 is now 50p. So we used to do shopping based on that philosophy because of like money not being running, and this is in the time of starting the business. And long story short, I remember there was one day the business was starting to make some money. I took out like £2,000 cash, and I packed it up to go and give Sabrina as like a gift. I just wanted to say thank you, you know, because there's been many, you know, corned beef and rice days, or sometimes just rice days. You know how we talk about it, corned beef and rice, as like the poverty for dinner kind of thing. It's not steak, is it? It's not steak. But like and I remember I gave it her, and she was like offended, like she looked upset. And I was kind of mad. I was like, huh? I couldn't understand it, but I was too busy to like penny it. That same year, I bought her a car. Bought her a Volkswagen Beetle. That's what she always wanted, a white Volkswagen Beetle. And then I done a surprise trip for the family to Florida. So I'm thinking on top of the world, like getting profile, the organization's growing. And then both were on holiday, and Sabrina said, "Oh, we need to talk." And she said, "You know what, Nathan? I feel like a single woman in this relationship. I'm not happy." And it was so crushing because I had no idea that she wasn't happy. In my head, I'm like providing. If I'll give you money, I bought you a car.
Yeah.
I've just took you on Florida, and she said, "I'm not happy in this relationship. I feel like a single mother." And the reason why I've held this is because I seen you growing. I didn't want to stop your shine. I didn't want to stop your flow. But I do need to tell you that, you know, I feel neglected. You're not in the kid's life how you should be. And it made me switch everything. So that was my challenge. And everything that we do now, and how I just reversed out of the business and stopped working so hard, was to actually safeguard my marriage and actually give that quality time to my wife, because I was shocked that she said that. So yeah, that's my challenge. But I'll talk about after the solutions to like get out of that season.
Yeah. I got some questions in that, but
I got a bag of questions.
I think we'll come back to it.
What's your questions? You could flow, you know, just flow.
Yeah, so what comes out for me is like, what's your wife's love language?
Yeah.
Like, I think
So that's what changed it, because I then had to go into soul searching. I was reading quite a lot. I was reading a book called Maximizing Manhood by Dr. Edwin Cole. And then I come across Gary Chapman's 5 Love Languages. And we done the test together, and I realized that Sabrina's love language was quality time and acts of service. But acts of service was number 1, and then quality time was secondary.
Yeah.
So what I realized is that my wife would more prefer me set a bath for her, acts of service, and run her a bath, and you know, that than actually, or cook her a meal, than me giving her £30,000, buying her a Lamborghini. Like, because gifts is not her love language, and it twisted my mind. So you know, like you hear about be transformed by the renewal of my mind. My mind got renewed because I realized that I wasn't hitting her love language, her love tank. And I had to change things about now being around, spending quality time with her, and doing things for her. And it really just like an eye-opener, because I just thought through probably Hollywood or the examples I've seen, that to be a man was to give your wife or your missus, your partner, gifts. But that wasn't meaning nothing. That wasn't hitting her love language. So yeah, that's what I found out. You said you had a question or a thought. What's yours?
No, it's generally like when you got that. You got like that news from the missus about like this feeling neglected, kind of. How did you even take that? Kind of, did you go into like a cocoon and kind of? Yeah,
it was. It was like the only word I can use was like, wow.
Yeah.
You got to be kidding me. Are you being serious?
Yeah.
And she said, no, I'm serious.
Was that more like a defensive thing, or was that kind of a self-reflection?
Look, at that moment, I was genuinely, God is my witness, gobsmacked.
Yeah, wow.
Because in my mentality, I was the perfect man. Wow. I was doing this when I was putting in the shift. I'm trying to say, you gotta understand that, like, that moment when I gave her £2,000 was like, it was me trying to say thank you for standing with me through the rain, like the heart, like no one knows what we have gone without for ages. I'm trying to say, and then me getting her a car was another way of me trying to say, this is how much I love you. And then in that same year, you know, this is the same year, I've done a surprise trip to Florida. This is not no joke money. So in my head, because of the amount, I'm accounting it. I'm accounting it like, this is how big I love you.
Yeah.
So I'm on top of the world. Like, I've never took my family away to Florida, and to get that there, it had a different kind of impact. It was crushing, and I had to go and pray and ask God, how could I have missed it like this? How could I not know? I was just literally blinkered, like blindsided. I don't know if you've ever done the exercise where, like, if you roll up some paper and look down it, you get your hand like that, and just squint down it, and just focus on one thing. Say, focus on the water buckle. I can't see James right now. I can't see you, but I was just so laser focused. So.
Wow.
Do you know? I should go.
No, I was gonna say to me it sounds like you put like value on. Say, for example, giving Sabrina 2,000 cash. It's like you said, to you that was a big thing, because maybe at the time that's kind of what you valued as like the big thing that you give someone in terms of like, look, this is how much I cherish you. But she viewed it completely different. She wanted the basics.
The basics.
The little things that made a difference. So yeah, no, I get that.
It was deep, bro. It was deep.
Mm.
Anyone else? What's their most challenging time in their relationship so far?
I wouldn't say it's the most challenging, because again, I'm only 4 years in, so...
That's still a sentence.
And yeah, I wouldn't say it's most, but the things I've struggled with since I've been married, the number one is communication. You lot know me, I'm very particular and precise, I'm very logical, and because as you
remember the jewelry.
So when I speak, I know what I'm saying, why I'm saying it, and I just know I'm kind of laser focused in that way, like you said about looking at that way. So it was hard for me being married with someone then I had to adjust how I communicated. Because in my mind, how I communicate, it makes sense because I'm logical. It makes sense to look at it this way and to do with it this way, but not everyone communicates that way.
Give an example to make it practical in terms of how to understand, because even the word logical, some people might not even understand what you're saying.
So let's say me and Nathan now, we have a disagreement over a few things. How I look at it is that I want to talk to you about apples, oranges, pears and bananas. That's how I look at its logic. We're going to deal with the apples first, and we're going to talk about it, and we're going to maybe agree or disagree, and we're going to move on. Because in my mind, if we look at apples, oranges and pears and bananas, but you only address two of them, then from my perspective, you ignore me on these 2 points. And it's like, you're only addressing points that you feel that you can, I don't know, give an excuse for or come back with, but these ones you've ignored because maybe you feel you've got nothing to say, or does that make sense? So I'm the kind of person, if I'm communicating with you or with me, I want to make sure when I'm communicating back to you that I'm addressing everything that you've said. I'm not ignoring you, but I want to speak to you on every single point. Do you know what I mean? But everyone communicates like that because it can come across like, I don't know, I'm a lawyer in court, I'm very methodical, but not everyone's like that. So one of my biggest challenges was to learn how to change how I communicate, because not just communicating logically, but with love and with compassion as well. Because sometimes one thing I've had to learn is that it's not just giving someone a solution, sometimes it's holding them. It's just letting them know that you're there and you care. Not just, why don't you just do this? What are you upset for? Just do this and you'll be fine. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So, I've learned that lesson so many times, bro. Like when we had a miscarriage in our marriage, I'm solution focused. This is what I do as a consultant. I'm always trying to solve problems. That's what I do for clients. And I was just trying to solve Sabrina's problem. Like I was just trying to get out of this pain. And I remember when you was going through it, and I said, don't rush it in it, bro. Because I was trying to rush Sabrina out of the grief that she was in, because this you going through this is messing up the plans, what we're doing. So I was just trying to give a solution, and she really boxed me one time with her mouth, and she said, Nathan, I'm telling you this not for you to solve it, but I'm just telling you to just listen.
And that's it.
And I was like, wow.
That's it.
And I didn't realize, because every time because I always perceived that when she's telling me something, she's asking for an answer or solution. No. Sometimes she just wants me to hold it and hold her.
Yeah.
And I didn't know about that. I didn't realize that sometimes when Serena's talking to me, she doesn't want an answer.
Yeah.
She doesn't want a solution. She doesn't 100%. Want my thoughts. She just wants me to just I hear you, Sabrina.
And sometimes as well, as the husband, when you see your wife in distress, what you want to do, you want to save them. You want to be that Superman. You want to be like, I've got you covered, don't worry, baby. But in some cases, as they say, just listen. Just be there. They don't want the solution. I learned that. Yeah, definitely. Don't give solutions. Let them talk. When they're ready to ask you for a solution, then respond. If not, then But I had to learn that. Do you know what I mean? And another thing that I struggled with, you mentioned about all the things you did for your wife, and then being told, I'm not happy. And you'll think, well, I've done this, I don't know this, but they're looking at something else. And as a man, it can feel almost emasculating, because it feels like, but I'm doing A to Z, but you're only looking at Z, but what about A to X or Y? Do you know what I mean? You pick out one thing, but I'm not doing it on purpose, it's how they feel.
Appreciation is a massive thing.
Yeah.
I went through it, I struggled with that hard. I wanted, thanks for washing up.
Yeah.
And I know it sounds mad, is because, and what I kept on doing right sometimes, I don't know if any of you done this. Obviously I've come from a certain lifestyle, inner city, road, ghetto. Most of the households that you're around, my own as well, it's not like you got full-time dads in the house.
Yeah.
So in my head I was like, I'm in this house 7 days a week, and sometimes I wash up
Yeah.
Like, be grateful that I'm here every day. Like, I know some of my brethren who I've left out there, who are not even, they're linking on a weekend for, you know what I'm saying, booty call, and that's all they're getting, and probably a one, like Valentine's, you get a flowers and you might get taken out. I'm here putting in a shift 7 days a week, and I'm like, be great, like, show me some appreciation, like, almost like, and I know it's unrealistic, but it's like I want like a cheerleader thing and a whole band to come out and like, he's washed off, hallelujah. And it's like, in prayer, God had to humble me and says, Nathan, what you think is amazing is supposed to be the standard.
Yeah.
But because you haven't had the standard, you think what the standard is amazing.
Yeah.
This is just normal. This is what you're supposed to do as a man. These are just the basics.
Yeah.
But I'm not wanting praise for the basics.
Yeah.
And it's like, nah, but when you don't have that or you haven't seen that modeled as a youth growing up, you're like, you think this is amazing now, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
You're in the house and give me some praise. So I don't know if any man have that with that.
Yeah, I think, and you've touched on it. You said that there wasn't an example, there wasn't a model or blueprint, and I think that's the issue. When I look at it in terms of, for me, actually for everyone, I feel, because you haven't had that father figure in your life through those stages, when you've accomplished something, okay, you're young, you go into a football game or something, like you played football, you scored about 3 goals, but your dad's not there to say, son, proud of you. I appreciate what you're doing. Because you haven't heard that in your subconscious mind for all that time growing up. Now you're here as a husband, as a man. You still want to hear that.
And you want to never heard it. You're more needy.
Yeah,
you didn't have it when you was a child.
Because now it's a female, and because their role is the nurturer, you know, the caring one. You want it. You're craving it. Like say something, and you're not getting it from them.
Wow.
So that can affect the scar that's already there. From dad saying, I'm proud of you. You tell a grown man that I'm proud of you, it breaks them. It breaks them. Like, when's the last time you told someone that I'm proud of you, bro? Like, we don't hear it enough as men. We don't. So,
and then we don't know
our wives for it.
And the thing is, we don't know how to articulate it neither. That we actually need it, because sometimes we don't realize that we need it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we don't know that we need what we need, kind of thing. Or that there was a hole. That's why counselling for me was powerful. Because I didn't realize I used a bucket of water as an analogy. Like, I was empty. I'm gonna say, and I'm like over trying to pull on my wife to get fulfilled. But then that's where the faith part comes in. Like, I realized that there's certain things that my wife can't give me. Like, it has to be God and other things. Does that make sense? Like, but I didn't realize that I'm like starting from a deficit. So like, if you think about like in finances, like if a deficit is like your minus. So if I was in money terms, I'm like minus £50,000, trying to build up, like trying to get the love tank back up because of earlier childhood experiences. I'm not getting it. I'm not necessarily getting that. Like, well done. So you start doing certain things that you know your dad definitely wasn't doing. Man that you're around aren't doing. So now, like, you get mad with your missus because, like, I know I did anyway. I don't know how. I can't speak for other man, but I know there was in the early days. I'm like, I'm here. Like, I haven't cheated on you, you know. Like, even when you push my hand away at night time, I'm still here.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
trying to put the red light in there.
No, I'm saying I'm still here. Like, yo, what's going on? And it's like, I know, man, that like you push my hand away. Okay, cool. Whatever the name, I'm coming around now. And trying to say, I'm trying to live this married life. And trying to say, you're talking about no. And man grew up under merciless and these old dog like we have them in apples and trees, and everybody know me right already. Believe you me, and you know what I'm saying? That was man's philosophy. When you see you get a look, you have your fool and take what you want. Now my wife trying to push right my hand. Yo, you're lucky 7 no God.
Now I think that's deep because you're saying spend time with yourself, but a man left to his own thoughts can be dangerous.
But it depends on the maturity of that man.
And that's what the key is. You said maturity. And I think for me personally, I had to learn that there's some principles that I had to learn. I had to go through some stuff, or I had to speak to the right people, have counselling to get the right information.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, the famous word said, in the multitude of counselors, there is safety.
Yeah.
So if you ain't got the right network around you, the right people that you can talk to, because iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
So you need that bounce
Yeah.
up. When you don't have that,
Yeah.
what do you do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think when you look at
Because-
like the early stages, then like, I think of all of our lives, maybe we didn't have that. So
Yeah.
when I said like self-reflection could be, yo, like you said, call the next girl and like, yo, I'm coming around now. That was self-reflection because you know when you've done the done. What I was saying, like
I'm coming around now.
now, so
So when you all think about, I want everyone to share this, and just if you can, is that what has been your hardest moment in your marriage, and then the question I'm asking is then how did you deal with it?
I think me personally, I think the hardest moment in my marriage, this is last year, this is affecting me, not so much my marriage, me as a person, because it starts from you, then it goes into your marriage and then family as well. I've had people die in my family back before, and you find, and so forth, but last year my auntie passed, and then my uncle passed 4 hours later, then 2 weeks later my granddad passed. I'm not gonna lie to you, I've been in church, I've been baptized as 10 years old, been in church, Holy Ghost, etc, etc, etc. But I was confused, I was angry with God, and I'm at a good probably 6 months, I wasn't praying, reading, anything like that. Be in bed at night, my wife were like, oh babe, let's pray. I'm like, can't.
Wow.
And you have to pray for me.
Oh.
And that was something that I've never experienced as an individual first, let alone in a marriage where you're meant to be the priest and the covering. Did you know what I mean? So for me, that was probably the lowest points actually. One lowest point. And I think obviously when you put that all together with a worldwide pandemic that we've never experienced, that alone by itself, being locked down away from your family, something you can't go out once a day, and all this is happening, that was a lot. I ain't gonna lie. And you talked about earlier about mental health and stuff like that. That was difficult, man. Do you know what I mean? You almost feel like you're trapped in your own house, and then it was weird.
How did you get out of it?
How I got out of it? It was difficult at first because again I was tuning into church and different services, and again I was kind of resentful towards God because I'm looking for a word. I'm looking for solutions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm solution focused, like you say. Like I feel down, and we get a word to kind of pick me up and get me where I need to be. So I'm looking for solutions, but I'm not finding nothing that's really kind of connecting with me to help. I'm speaking to family. Do you know what I mean? And I remember my auntie passed, and then my uncle passed, and then 2 weeks later my granddad's in the hospital, and we got a phone call, it was taking a turn for the worse. And people were like, oh, we're gonna pray. And my head is like, well, we pray for my auntie, she ain't here no more.
Wow.
So you know what I mean?
That's the reality, man.
It's like, so what are you praying for? And this is me being a Christian for, you know what I mean? That's just me being real and open and stuff. What kind of helped me and picked me up was that I got a random message from church. I think it was Bishop actually. Because me and Bishop spoke about it. We went for a meal together and we spoke, and he helped me quite a lot. But I actually had to do something. He asked me to do a word to encourage the brethren. Imagine that, you're down, you feel horrific, but you got to serve.
Oh, man.
Do you know what I mean? So I put a word together. Is that one like the fight back, man? That's when I first started doing Bless Central.
Yeah.
And that actually helped me because it gave me something to do. It gave me a focus. It gave me a purpose because I felt lost. Do you know what I mean? And I found that whilst I was doing those things and doing those words, I was actually preaching to myself. And as the Bible said, David had to encourage himself in the Lord, and it helped me and pulled me through. And it helped me as a stepping stone. But I wouldn't have thought it would have been that way. I was looking for someone else to help me.
That's deep. Wow. You know why that's deep? It's because it reminds me of a time when, like, I remember I wasn't happy with certain things in my house. And I think it was all about the love languages thing, innit? And God had very clearly said to me, whatever you want to see manifested in your house, you first have to sow. You have to example it. So, like, say if you wanted more patience or more love, I had to first start loving at a greater level and serving my wife at a greater level. And it was like God was putting on me, like, by faith, that, like, if you want love and want to feel love your wife like crazy, like unconditionally. And when you're talking about agape love, unconditional, it's like there's no conditions. Because God was showing me that I was loving with conditions. Like if I do this for you, I'm expecting this back. God says no, come with a clean slate and just love, like have a mindset that like you might have to love and serve your wife for the next year and get nothing back in return. If you want patience now, you need to be more patient and sow patience. If you want more understanding, I need to be more understanding first. And like God will give me this revelation of like, you know, when you talk about priest and being the head, and it's saying that everything that you want to see, he says, I pull it inside of you. And like you've got to give birth to it, and then the woman will multiply it. And then you know the same revelation of like sperm. If we give a woman sperm, she will turn that thing into a human being. Like whatever you sow into a woman, she'll multiply it. But you have to sow it first. And I was like, rah. And it transformed my marriage. And I can see how that same thing that you started to serve, you sold, and it's like you bought the fruit or the harvest that you received was healing. You shouldn't say, or a sound mind, as you was encouraging. Let me ask you a question, if you can reflect, and then Nathan, you have to jump in, and then we're going to go into the struggles of mental health. Where do you think Mikey would be right now? Because obviously we've got a bit of a brotherhood now. We've got a brotherhood. So that time, sometimes we send in prayers, we talk to each other, Zoom physically with our mentor. If you didn't have that, where do you think you would be?
I'll probably say road, selling drugs, maybe.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I think that what keeps me grounded is more time just the random messages in the group, like what our next man's doing, like and like Nathan, you're a massive inspiration in terms of. I've left from Instagram to LinkedIn, and I'm always seeing on LinkedIn doing some shit. I'm like, yo, okay, yeah, I know you got this going on in your head, but check out your next brother. That's what you're doing. So even when I came to see you at your office, I was like, yo, proud because this is big.
You know what, I just want to pause it there with you.
Definitely.
And to say respect for that, because so many people, I'm telling you, bro, I think our community's gone crazy and are dying because I got that revelation that you had before I was even Christian, because I was doing road hard, and like I kept on having these moments when counting out whole lot of money, but I kept on feeling empty. I go to the biggest dances, buying up the big buckles, big chain around my neck, doing all this stuff, and I kept on going home empty. Slept with how many different women, still felt empty. Wearing nice clothes, driving a big car, still felt empty, and I couldn't understand what this emptiness was, like what's going on. And then that's when obviously I came to faith, and that emptiness got filled when I gave my life to Christ, and he filled me with his spirit. And then obviously, long story short, got married, etc., etc. But I know our community is chasing what people think is what will make you full. A house, a second house, a third house, a rental accommodation, but some crypto, this, that, some designer clothes, all this stuff. I mean, we're looking on the gram and looking on social media, but the harsh reality is that's not going to make you happy. And this is where I think where drugs and mental health comes in, but we're going to come to that in a second. Nathan, your most challenging time?
Listen, man, you've just covered so much. Like, I don't even want to go onto that.
I didn't have the maturity before to talk about it. It wasn't important to me enough. But then I realised that mental health is real. And like I said to you guys before, I think when we was at Elder Carl, I'm like, I realised that I'm having a too few many drinks at home when I shouldn't be. Like during the week, on a weekend, just give me my this around and I'm cool. But like during the week, I'm like,
what's going on here?
What's going on? This ain't good. So like literally, I've just stopped buying stuff and putting it in there because I know that if it's there, I'm gonna drink it. If I'm going through a thing and I know it's there, I just pick it up and say, to me it's just a drink. I don't care. I'm going with that. But the thing is, a lot can go on with that because if you started off like a full bottle of this and then you realise that you're just drinking, and even though you feel like it's a casual thing because you're at home and nobody's seeing you, it's not you're not being affected in any way. You still you're articulating yourself in your family. My daughter is not seeing me drunk and slobbering all over the place. you think it's okay, but naturally it isn't okay. Like you need to put a cap in it quick. Like, and that's what I was saying to you guys. Like, yo, that needs to be over there.
Yeah.
And I need to focus on like what matters. I need to focus on me and my mental health and make sure that I'm okay. Because if I'm not okay, my daughter ain't gonna be okay, and I can't do the stuff that I need to do to protect my wife and to look out for the whole family. So I'll leave that.
That's big, man.
Not important.
Thanks, Mikey. Just give us a little taste, Nathan, of just a moment for you. Mikey, salute, man. 121 gun salute. That was fire.
Send to the gun out.
21 gun salute. But a real general talking.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. For me, man, there's a few, and I think the key one is having two different households. And the reason why I say that is because I have two boys previously, and now I have two boys and my wife, Danielle. So it's difficult for me because I'm trying to marry the two. It always feels like I'm trying to bring the two together. Yeah. Like every single day, every single week when the boys come on the weekend, I'm trying to bring the two together. And we're trying to have a bond and build a relationship and build a family. And on top of that, I'm trying to be a husband as well too. So I'm trying to be father over here, father here, and husband here. So it always feels like I'm separated. And it always feels like sometimes, like when it comes to the new initiation with the younger boys and Danielle, their first experiences, in my head I'm like, I don't know already. It's not big for me. Like I've done it over here. For Danielle, this is their first time. So when I'm trying to like, well, yeah, they're going to school, cool. Or start nursery first. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like I've experienced that already. So there's no kind of empathy or compassion or that same kind of energy for these boys because they're having something new and I'm not sharing the moment with her. So that's kind of one thing. But it's the whole blended family. It's that whole blended family. It's whole.
But that will have massive impact, bro. Because like you can't even skip over them things because like if you're not mind shut, you probably already had these conversations. But you see those moments where you're not. Because I know you as a workaholic. Just keep it real, yeah. So you might not put things in your diary or prioritize things. Because it's not a biggie. So first day at school, you might just like, I'm just gonna. You wouldn't even think to book it off because it's like it's not a biggie. But then you're not understanding the emotional impact that's like your wife's looking and thinking, hold on, am I just doing this by myself? And you know say, and then you get that thing because you're not. Is that the same thing? What I'm saying with what happened with me in like Florida? And then before you know it, you're going to have a meeting, bro, if it hasn't already happened. Where she's going to talk to you, bro. It's going to come. If it hasn't already come,
we need to
it's going to come like...
It hasn't come. We haven't.
But it will come.
Today.
After she watches this.
Prophecy.
Okay, you do understand.
No, but sometimes it's through conversation we realise certain things. Is that like... We have to make those moments count because those moments are important. The first steps when they start from the graduate from crawling to walking. Like every man will go through this. For those who have got children, I was confused that like, wow, you mean to tell me like, enough mans don't see this moment when like the child learns to walk. Like like the first 3 years are critical in a child's life. Like those are real formative years and like. Some man think they can bounce back in like at age 15, 16 and wonder why there's a disconnect. There's so much things that they go through, so much experiences that kids have at school, at nursery. Their friendship circles are very important. Like, so-and-so took my pencil. That's a massive thing. Like their pencil case is their world. But if you don't clock that because you're too busy, I don't know if it's because I've got females. Like you miss it. Like I have to constantly do kitchen table talks in my house. Like how's things? So and so didn't talk to me, and I have to realize that I need to spend time and just listen. How does that make you feel? I feel so sad that I don't want to go back to school tomorrow. I'm like, what? You don't want to go to school? Like, nah, you're amazing. I have to encourage. So I'll just say, even though it seems like trivial, but those moments are significant.
And that's what I was coming to because it's the pulling out, it's the unplugging. Like you can't be Superman all day. You have to be Clark Kent at some point. You have to be. You have to switch off. Like literally, it's actually I'm gonna be here for a moment. So the work thing, that has to slow down.
Yeah.
And like we have to check in. So recently we've been doing a lot of that, but because the seasons change where the kids are at school and nursery, Daniel's at work, I'm at work. It's like literally we're just flat out. But when we do get back home, it's learning to turn it off. Okay, and you're in daddy mode now. You're not work mode. So turn that off.
Yeah.
There's no. Actually, no. It's some love. It's some affection. So I'm still going through that. I'm still learning that.
Transitional.
That transition. Daniel's just hands on with the kids. Like me, I can be on that vibe. Like the noise. Like in the morning when I get up, I'm in the secret place. I've got to pray. I got to set the foundation for the day. When I come out of that prayer closet, there's kids running up and down at 6 o'clock in the morning. And it's noisy. And for me, I'm just like, hold up. No, I can't. So it's learning to not just lash out, but think first.
Respond, not
and
react.
Then, and then respond. And then have the conversation over here with Danielle. So, boy, I feel like this, in the mornings, like, and talk about it.
Yeah.
So I'm still going for that. But the key thing for me is the blended families thing. It's one family in that environment over here and one family over here.
That's hard, man.
And just trying to bring them together. It's just in the moment when I was on the phone to her, I broke down. And she must have called Nathan or messaged Nathan. And then I got a call from you, I got a call from Elder Ben, like just getting on these calls. But it was like, because I'm so practical and we're so solution focused, I'm trying to fix this.
Yeah.
I need to fix it. I need to fix it.
Yeah.
And Dad's not here. I need to fix it. And when you can't fix something as a man,
It
messes you up. It actually messes you up internally.
At the same time, you're angry with God and stuff as well. Oh no, I'm like, are you up there watching me going through all this stuff? You can see it going on, you couldn't even let me know what I want. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I feel like he's up there just laughing at me, watching some popcorn. You know what I mean? That's what it felt like, do you know what I mean? But that was where I was at that time in terms of aloneness and the depression and the slow. And again, didn't even realise it's only years later. Because back then, like 10, 12 years ago, we weren't really speaking about mental health and all this kind of things. It's big now, do you know what I mean? And National Men's Day. But back then, we weren't really speaking about that. It's kind of like, especially as black people, we have this mentality, even go back to slavery, where you're in slavery, you come out of slavery, you get on with it. You got trauma, and it doesn't matter, you get on with it. And I think we, especially I have it as well, where you kind of have this mentality like yourself, solution focused, get on with it. I'm hurting, but get on with it. So-and-so's passed away, but get on with it. This is going on, but get on. I'm dying on the inside, but get on with it. Come on, keep going.